Philly sports, love and pain. I'm Dave,
I'm free. Officer Doofy.
and with us today, we have two special guests. Uh, Jason
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
and Gordy.
What up?
So we're
Welcome
gonna we're,
back.
we're gonna attempt this four-way round table podcast, and I tried to make that sound as not as bad as possible. I don't know, it is what it is, but you know we're gonna start with this the Sixers, and we're gonna put a nice bow on it.
Thank God it's over.
we finally got a weekend back to ourselves last weekend, and it was glorious.
It really was. Not high stress, not worried about anything other than, what we were going to do.
I know. It was pretty sweet. But everybody's been listening to everybody. Everybody's been listening to you and me shoot the shit about back and forth about the Sixers and all their problems, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to try to bring in a couple of different opinions, really, and that's why I was hoping that Jason and Gordy could join us tonight, because where I stand on this. I think I know where you stand on this. Like,
Glenn.
you know, yeah. So you're out on Glenn. You want him gone. He's not going to be gone.
No, he's not.
I firmly believe that.
And I don't want to just get rid of him to get rid of him. But if we can get, I don't even know. Like, this is the whole thing about, like, it's not even the offseason yet, right? It's like the Barry Trotz all over again. Like, you don't know what you're going to have until all the dust settles with the championship and all that shit.
Right.
But, if J.J. Redick want to come to town, Daddy's open for business.
So let's open it up. Let's open it up first. To Jay, what do you think about Glenn and this whole thing?
Well, first of all, I'm glad you called him Glenn. That's correct.
That's for you.
I don't want him back. I don't know how you can listen. I know you disagree, but I'm not sure how you can watch some of his player management going into the playoffs. How you can watch, the rotations that he puts in there. I don't think he's the guy to win. You see his teams underachieve. You see his teams blow leads in playoff series. There's too much smoke for there not to be fire. And I between his shit and Harden's shit, it doesn't feel like that's the right chemistry to me. But
the thing is, it's the arrogance of it all is where I lose my momentum of trying to defend Glenn. If he's not so smug about the shit, and act like he's won 5 or 6 championships, then he can be like that, right? But it's been what, 08? I was still in high school when he won a championship. It's been long enough to we can kind of move past that. He's too arrogant for his own good, I think.
I agree with that, actually, 100%. And the stuff that he says, when he comes in and he says, something like, well, when I first got here, no one was picking us to go anywhere. I'm like, what?
Yeah, no
what?
shit. Yeah,
the
yeah.
hell? What are you talking about? Like,
Read a book.
Like, I don't know. So, Gordy, where do you stand on Glenn Doc Rivers, and whether or not you want him back, you don't want him back, indifferent? Where you at?
I mean, in all honesty, I'm a little bit on the indifferent side. The reason being is I don't know what else you go out and get. I don't think Mike D'Antoni's the guy, and supposedly he's looking at or Charlotte's looking at him, so he's probably going to end up with a job. I mean, that's the guy that's always been linked with Harden and Morey. So Redick, listen, I'd be all for it, but he's never coached anybody before, and he seems to be enjoying his time, with his family, golfing, and then doing TV shows, making as much money as he did as a player without beating himself up. So yeah. I'm not 100% sure there's another better option out there. The like Jay makes a good point. The rotations, the horrific player management, and the awful press conferences all add up. But I look at some of it, and I said this to you in particular, Dave, multiple times talking about different things. In the playoffs, rotations shorten. So, you want to stick with DeAndre Jordan, throughout the regular season. That's a mistake. But
Right.
whatever, right? I mean, he's burning minutes in the regular season. In the playoffs, he did go with Paul Reed. Now could be ball Paul used a little more seasoning during the season. That's really poorly said on a podcast. But yes, you give the guy more time, more minutes, he's only going to get better. So you use him in the regular season. You build him up. Doc, for whatever reason, has a blind spot, doesn't want to do it. He's his whole career, he's relied on the veterans, let them run the team. It's a mistake. It's something that worked for him back in '08 when he won it. He hasn't had the right mix of guys to do it, or if he has had the right mix, they haven't been healthy enough to pull it off. At that, and that's really, I feel like that's what happened to this team. I don't think Harden's healthy. I think he's healthy enough to play, and I don't think Joel wasn't healthy. We were getting 50% Joel, if that.
Right.
So, and then Danny Green goes down, and as soon as that happened, 3 minutes into that game, I mean, the look on you didn't see the look on my face, but I mean, you knew, everybody knew.
You saw the look on that entire team's face. Jay, what do you got?
Yeah.
You got something?
Well, maybe this is because of a missing knowledge for me for basketball. I would probably put basketball in last place when I look at my sports knowledge. Do players running the team, whether it's a head coach or a franchise, does that work? I struggle to believe that works.
If you're LeBron, it
works. Does it? What is LA doing right now?
Well, right now, no.
Well, he's leaving.
Yeah, he ain't going to be there much.
Yeah, no, it's a good point, really, and that's kind of where it is. Like, right, like, so there's been a couple examples where the players running the show kind of does work, and then then there's a couple examples where the players running the show clearly doesn't work. And
did not work out in Brooklyn last couple of years, did it?
Exactly. So, it's interesting. It's an interesting conversation. Like, I don't feel like he's been here long enough for us to get.
You're not.
Why people the shelf? Joe has a limit. Like, I get that. I get all that, but I don't know.
You're not moving on from him for like a sack of peanuts, right? Like, it has to be the right move to move on. And I mean, I understand that. And I got to believe the three of you understand that. But like, he's on a leash, a short leash for next year for sure. And Gordy said it, like, there's no reason that Paul Reed did not get more game time. There's no reason for it. Absolutely none. Now, I understand that you guys, we had Drummond to begin with, but as soon as he was traded out and then they signed, DeAndre Jordan, it should have been Paul Reed show. It should have been. And that hurt us. And I think Paul Reed played pretty well. Imagine if he had, even more experience. And I was like, I don't believe anything that Patrick Beverley says just because, like,
he's just up there hating.
Yeah, and he's like,
what it feels
like to me, he's like he's a B- player, right? Like, but he gives you no offensive. He just knows ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he did say something. He's like, working with Glenn. Working with Glenn is like it's really challenging. So like he was saying, if Harden had a full year, what could potentially be from learning that way of it. And Harden's never had like a dominant center. There's definitely a total landscape change. And I said it last week. And I really do believe this. When the NBA changed that rule, where you can't bump into people and just flare your arms and get the foul, that changed the NBA, the dynamic of it all. So that's going to hurt Harden's, not even value. That's not even the right word. Just like his ability to get points. Like that Harden's dead. That 35, 40-point Harden, he had good numbers. It's not like he played like terribly poor. You would like that shooting percentage to go up a little bit, and you would like him to take over a game. And he took over one, which we said was like Seth Curry, right? No. Yeah, Seth. Yeah. So I wish we had Steph. It's like the Seth Curry, mix there. And then the last thing I'll say, then everyone can jump in on this, is like How fucking sad is it that Danny Green goes down with an injury and that deflates the team? Are you kidding me? Like that's painful to me. I just think it is. Like, even if you use your heart and soul of the team, it's like 10 points. It's
Gotcha.
replaceable. Is all I'm saying.
Go ahead, Jay.
I just feel like that's a final blow. I mean, the team was clearly deflated as soon as Embiid tore his thumb, and then he broke his face, and then like they went through multiple levels of deflation.
Yeah,
that was just
100%.
the last blow.
yeah,
Yep.
that is fair.
And like like even Doc almost fucked up, and or Glenn, whatever you want me to call him, Glenn. I'll call him Glenn, whatever. Almost really fucked up in the post game press conference because they were asking him questions about, like, you know, the demeanor of the team, and like if when Danny got hurt, the morale, and he meant something along the lines of, like, we kind of knew, like, and then he like changes his like direction a little bit. He almost basically admitted, and
Did he?
you guys hear any
This
of that?
Are you in a tornado right now, dude?
Yes,
Dave, we can hear you, we can't see you.
that's okay. So it would be a travesty if we were able to get through this thing without problems. Like it would never happen.
Ow. Listen,
Can't,
are you there, David?
I'm here.
You're ruining the podcast this week.
Oh well.
I did it for 35 other episodes. It's fair. I really didn't hear anything you said. It cut out. So you want to try
In
again?
and out for me.
For all you people that don't know, Dave hates technical difficulties. This is gonna derail him for the whole night.
Dave's got to get out of that brick room, man. That brick room is messing up the signals. You can't.
Who does he fucking think he is? Is he fucking Batman in that cave?
He's gone. Listen, this is why you can't go on a podcast with just Dave, because there will be a point where it's just you.
Well, I don't even know how to do this. I just come for the snarkiness. Like, Dave's the whole thing. So I'm gonna try to fill in here. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing.
Bring the snarky. Well, actually, I want to say something because you mentioned something about Harden and the rule change, right?
Yeah.
With the NBA. So that is a drastic overcorrection. Like all right. You want to say a guy jumps into a defensive player while taking a shot or something and creates the contact. Hang tight one.
Is that the damn cat again?
So jumping into a player and creating contact is obviously a non-basketball move, right? Trae Young does it. Harden did it. But when you're driving to the rim and a dude is just riding your shoulder all the way to the cup.
It looked like a cheap strip club is what it looks like.
It's an absolute foul. There's in no rule book on the game of basketball is Harden not being found going to the rim. Over and over and over again. He's not jumping sideways into a guy with the ball in his hand. He's getting fouled all the way to the rim the whole time. It is a drastic overcorrection, specifically on him. I'm not going to blame it on the refs, but I am going to say they referee Harden differently than they do most guys in that league. And I think they referee Joel differently than they do a lot of guys in the league because he gets hit more than anybody else. People complain about him shooting too many free throws. It's because he gets fouled more than everybody else. Like, you can't look at those free throws and those fouls and go, nah, none of those should have actually happened. Every one of them's a foul. And then there's a whole bunch more called.
That's what happens when you have Megamind as the fucking commissioner. The dude is terrible. He's just trying to, and what happened was they got away with those first two games where they fouled, they played it, I think, correctly with the amount of fouls that were called. And then someone, cried and moaned and whined, and then Adam Silver was like,
And I
"No, those aren't fouls."
for Nick Nurse, that Raptors coach.
Oh.
What a chump! I can't.
Dick
I can't,
Nurse. We
there's
call him
no other
Dick
word
Nurse
for
around
it.
here.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
terrible.
I thought he's a good coach. I just lost a lot of respect for him as a person.
Dick Nurse.
I've never. Yeah, that was a lot of crying. Like too much, honestly. I think we all knew this. Like, I think Game 5, right after Game 5, I think it was very clear, right? Like it was over. The ride was over. The season was over. We were all going to be free. We old yellered in the backyard, and that was the end of it. And honestly, for my sanity, I needed it to be over because I couldn't endure another goddamn second of like the ups and downs and the ups and downs. Like I just couldn't do it, and I'm glad it's over. Just glad.
Enjoy being put out of your misery.
Yeah. And then someone will be like, "Oh, you're a bad fan for not watching them get blown out by 105 in
You're not a
Game 4 of the
fan for not
playoffs."
watching them get blown out. That's ridiculous. You want to see success. You
Yeah,
know your
Raider
team
Frank
is behind the
679.
eight ball. Yeah, when you know you're behind the eight ball, I mean, what are you supposed to do? You know?
Yeah, I mean it's ludicrous, but I think
The Flyers.
I didn't, dude. I'll be the. I think I
can't
told
say
Dave
did
like
this year.
episode 11. I was like, I'm done. I didn't watch one.
It
They were
was
terrible.
it was unwatchable. I mean, come on, seriously.
It really was.
My
And then
God.
of course that jag off JVR puts up 25 goals. Like, get out of here, you bum. Trade him. You should have went to Vegas. Okay.
Well, whatever they do, don't let them know where he wants to be traded before they fucking trade him. We all know that doesn't work.
Well, it does if your name is Claude Giroux.
Anyway, so like, all right, so that's the whole deal, right? But here's my thing about this whole situation, right?
One more year.
They need it.
Yeah.
They
We
need
knew
it.
that.
We need
Even
it.
at the trade deadline, we said the same exact shit.
I
and
know.
then we fell into the Disney World Pixar magic.
We did. But like, Glenn and Embiid and Harden and almost everyone on the team need a year. They need a whole year together. Now they need to retool shit. They need to ship somebody out. It's probably going to be Toby. That's my guess. And
Well, you have to move Toby if you want to make any kind of noise.
right, they need to retool shit. Like they need to, right? So Toby is the most obvious guy that they're gonna move. Like I would be like if they moved Maxey, people might burn the fucking city.
They're
down.
not moving Maxey.
They can't, dude. If they do that, it's such an enormous mistake.
Yeah,
not
I
good.
agree. No, I agree.
Yeah,
Right,
no,
exactly.
I actually
I might
agree
be
with
too.
Jay there.
And that's saying something. I might be too if they move Matt.
Yeah, you can't. Listen, you get Harden to take a pay cut, and I think they can do that. And he takes a pay cut. You try to get what you can for Toby. You hope you get another COVID draft pick and get someone like Maxey late.
Here's what I don't know, Gordy. Do you know this? So Harden has a player option, right, for $46 million, whatever, $47 million, whatever it is. If he decides to sign like a 2 or 3 year contract, can they restructure the whole thing, or do they have to pay him that 46 next year no matter what?
So in the NBA, if you're signing a max deal, it pretty much has to be like year to year. It's not where they can do like, all right, we're only going to give you 10 mil this year. We're going to give you 70 the next 10.
Okay.
Like it doesn't work that way. It has to be. There's a certain percentage that they can go up or they can go down. I think it is. So they're a little bit locked in that way. Harden, if there's a team that can get Harden to say, listen, I'm at a stage in my career, I really do want to win a championship, it's the Sixers right now because of Daryl Morey and his relationship with him. Harden has said in interviews he looks at him like a father. I mean, you know, and I don't think that that's just a line. I think he really genuinely does. So they have a good relationship. If Harden turns around and says, listen, I don't want to pick up my 1 year option, but I'll sign a 4-year deal for $120 million. at what's that, 30 years, 30 mil a year. That's still a
Yeah.
bargain for a guy that's going to give you 22, 9, and 8 for the
Gordo,
until he's
that's
done.
not good enough. Okay.
No, it's not. It's not Houston James Harden.
Why is that?
People-
Hold on, but seriously, why is that not good enough?
It's
Oh
good
no,
enough.
I was
It's
I
good
was
enough
making fun of
30
everyone.
mil.
on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah,
It's good
No,
enough.
I'm
There was
definitely in that
sarcasm
corner, right?
behind it.
The stats you're getting with Harden are the stats you are going to get with Harden. Houston
Yeah.
Harden is dead.
Yes,
The
exactly.
Now I will say this: I think Harden was healthy enough to play, not healthy enough to be.
Dynamic.
Yeah. Uh, who knows what happens with an actual offseason to rest and fix his hamstring? But then again, the guy's also going to be 33. I mean, you don't get better at 33, so that's a risk.
That was going to be my
Especially
question.
Tom Brady.
Do you see? You talk about the 29 and 8. Do you see that for 4 years? I have trouble seeing that from him for 4 years, but
I see it for 3 of the 4 years at least. And the reason I do is because he does have a game that was never predicated on him being able to completely blow by guys and use athleticism. He plays old man ball. You know what I mean? He sees the court. He makes the right plays a lot. It's just the Sixers don't have guys that can knock down the shots regularly. You know, I mean that's the
Thibault-
biggest thing. If they had actual shooters, if they had Miami shooters, dude, Harden at the point in Miami would forget. You could take Jimmy Butler off that team. Miami would be still moving too, because he would just hit those guys with open looks constantly.
So
I miss you, Jimmy Butler.
I know. He would listen. The
Can't call him Jimmy
championship team we
Butler.
had in this city was beaten by 4 bounces of a basketball. That
you gotta
was
call
a
him Jimmy
championship team.
Butthole forever now.
Jimmy Butthole.
Yeah, but here's the thing, like right,
That was a
Harden,
championship team though. It was.
Harden in the regular season this year, right? He was 22 and 10.
That's
Yeah,
good.
22 and 10.
In
Even if
the,
he-
and in the postseason,
20
in
and
the
9 or
postseason,
8.
he was 19 and 8. Like, I don't know.
You knew what
Those
you
are
were
all-star
getting.
numbers. MVP numbers. You know,
We already have an MVP, right? We don't need 2 MVP. Like, no team has 2 MVPs.
you can't.
You can't have 2 MVPs. So, like, we need to decide, like, do we want Embiid to be the focus and then have Harden be the facilitator and put up 20? Like, and then you have the X factor of Maxey who can come in and drop 20, 30 here and there in a night. Maxey will probably average 18 next year. 18 to 20 is my guess. Right? So, I don't know. I think that they're fine. I mean, everybody wants to sell the Sixers right now. Everybody wants to be out on them. I'm in, man. I'm in on them. I don't know. I'm always optimistic though. Like about everybody.
Still going to be really good for the next couple of years.
Yeah, but really
You know.
good doesn't win you a championship.
It may not, but I'll tell what happens. All right, let me ask all of you guys this: the leap Maxey took from year 1 to year 2. What
Was
if he
he
takes that
aggressive?
leap from year 2 to year 3?
Yeah.
What if he keeps getting better at that rate? What do you see as the ceiling for the team at that point? If Harden's your
You're
third
still-
best,
Yeah, but who's your four? Is Toby still on the team?
just for shits and giggles, we'll say Toby is still your 4th.
Yeah,
I
then go on.
shooters. You said it
Yeah.
earlier. That's what you're missing. That's what they've been missing for what, 20 years?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this, and it hurts my soul, but you're missing someone like a Tyler Hero.
So here's the way the Sixers can load up on shooting talent, but not necessarily NBA talent. And what you
JJ
do
Redick.
is you turn around and you scour the G League for every shooter in the G League and just offer them a minimum contract. Those dudes are going to jump at it. It's guaranteed $1.5 million. Every team can offer it to them, but only a few can guarantee you actual playing time. You got to decide if you can do that and pull enough shooters out of that league that can do enough things both ways so that you can get rid of Korkmaz and Shake and actually get an athletic wing. Get rid of DeAndre Jordan's done. But
Dude,
get rid of
Shake is not it. Like
Shake
Korkmaz
ain't
is
it.
not it.
Shake ain't
Niang, I don't really even think he's
on
it.
No, he's not. But he's a cost controlled $7 million. He'll be
Right.
on the roster.
Right. So
Danny
like
Green's contract is now expiring. He's $10 million. He will be thrown into a trade. Because he's probably not going to be able to play until after the All-Star break next year anyway. So he's an expiring contract. He's just filler.
Let me make a proposition here. We're doing a roundtable. I've never been a part of a roundtable. You guys haven't done it on the podcast yet. What if we like finish segments with like a definitive question? The one that came up naturally here was, are we in or out on the Sixers moving forward?
all right, you go first.
Okay. I totally believe in the process. I think it's how you build a team and win a championship in the NBA. I think it's the most statistically reasonable way to do it. I'm out.
Okay, so
Kenny wasn't ready.
I don't like that. It hurts. I think your biggest issue, and forget everything we've been talking about for the last Jesus Christ 26 minutes. Up fry. I think the biggest thing with the process that has me the most fucked up is the mismanagement of everything that went wrong. So like Bridges, Zaire Smith, taking Okafor because you're worried about Embiid's health, moving up to get Fultz, which is still and listen, if I hear one more time that the Sixers should have took Tatum, I might blow my brains out because I don't understand. Like that to me, as soon as you say that, I know immediately that anything you say means nothing because you're a fucking moron.
No, the Sixers or basketball without telling me on this.
Well, but then it just invalidates every other opinion you have because you just clearly just read headlines. So, but my problem with the Sixers and then the whole Ben Simmons saga, like they're an exhausting franchise, and for something that I find value as like low 2, high 3, you know what I mean? Because all those, you know what I mean? I it's exhausting to be a Sixers fan. It really is. And Gordy said it. He was like, 4 bounces changes the whole trajectory of the Sixers basketball. But there's so many egregious errors, not only the Jimmy Butthole thing. So, like, right now, if they don't land someone that's, like, a pure shooter, I think you have to be out. I really do. Like, and I'm not out, like, I'm not going to, like, when the playoffs come around or watch, like, during the regular season like I have been, I'll always be there. But I have to pull back and like not invest as much energy into it because it really is an exhausting